was all about balancing mom life and building a business. And Renee and I just get kind of honest about how we do that or lack thereof, or how we struggle, and how it looks totally freaking different to anybody. And there's no one way to skin a cat. So hopefully, whether you are a dog mom or like girl mom, boy mom, adoption mom, whatever type of mom you might be, or even if you think that you want to have kids someday, please give it a listen. Hey Caitlin, let me know what you think. Leave a review, all the good things. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about money and bookkeeping and accounting. And if you're like a normal, I like to call myself normal creative, that's the type of stuff in your business that you really freaking hate. Like, you hate it. It's the last thing on your to-do list. Everyone likes to make money, right? I mean, can I get an amen? But keeping track of your books in the accounting part is like the really, soul-sucking, not so fun, glamorous part of your business. But it is so important that you get a grasp on it, because if you don't, like, you're never gonna succeed in your business. But I just want to tell you about my journey with money and how it was really awful for a really long time. And I want to be vulnerable and open with you, and in hopes that maybe you can connect and relate and get over whatever fears you might be having about your own books and accounting in your own business, so you can like make lots of money too, because that's why we're here. Money's not a dirty word. It's not a bad, selfish thing to want to make money. It's a good thing. This isn't a hobby. This is, a lot of us are just working so freaking hard to build our businesses, and we deserve to make lots of money. Okay, so let's talk Kitty Meow before she was Kitty Meow, back when I graduated from college. So when I graduated from college here in Illinois, I moved to Las Vegas to get a job in advertising. I had saved a bunch of money throughout college because I worked a lot, and I knew that I wanted to make this move. I broke up with my boyfriend at the time. I just had to get out of Illinois, because I knew that if I didn't make a crazy change, hey Lauren, that I would be stuck in this rut for the rest of my life, not doing anything new or anything called on my heart. So I packed up my Honda Accord, I drove down to Las Vegas with my big brother, and I lived with my cousin and her husband for a little bit. It took me about 3 months to find a design job, and by that time I blew through a lot of the money that I had saved. But I got a good job, and I was that person who was always working like a bajillion jobs. I was a advertising designer from 9 to 5, and then I was nightlife pool promoter. I worked as a photographer in a nightclub. I did cocktail serving at a strip club. Don't tell my parents, I just said that on the internet. Didn't do anything weird. Totally clothed. Let me just put that out there. But that's the job that I worked from like 3 a.m. to 11 o'clock the next morning. And I didn't have any kids. I didn't have a boyfriend. I just really liked to freaking work and make money. But I was blowing through that money faster than I could make it. I worked at one of the biggest nightclubs in the city. It's not even there anymore, Pure Nightclub. But I did these banquet parties before nightclub hours. So big companies would rent out the entire nightclub. And then we would just like serve them catered food. So that was just like one of my many jobs. And those type of parties, for literally picking up plates and putting them in the dishwasher, I mean, we would make anywhere from like $300 to $700 a night. And you would think like, okay, this young girl in her 20s making all this freaking money, would have all these savings that she would buy a house, because at the time in Las Vegas, the house market, you could get a freaking baller house for very little amount of money, that I would be, really investing in my future. No, I was investing in shoes and clothes, and going out and cocktails. I mean, I did pretty much everything that you could do wrong with money, because I don't know. I didn't know any better. I didn't care. And I would max out all my credit cards. I didn't even look at the statements every month because it's kind of one of those things where, like, maybe if I don't look at it, maybe if I don't look at the statements, then it's like they're not real. If anyone can relate to that, please don't leave me hanging here alone. But I would max out these cards and then I'd pay off the minimum balance, and this is like this vicious cycle of just, gross, awful. So then I met my husband, who was this like white collar, successful businessman who told me straight off the bat that he did not want to date a nightclub girl and asked me to go to church with him. I didn't even have anything to wear to church. I mean, mind you, I'm probably coming off like I was this hussy. I was not, but I had like nightclub clothes and not even a pair of slacks, friends. Pretty crazy. So once I met my husband, I got, thank you, Sarah, that sometimes you just don't want to look at the statement. It's like, if you don't look, then maybe it will just go away and Jesus will shine down upon you and just magically pay off the entire balance. But no, that's not what happens. So when I met my husband, I was like, no more of this. I want to be an active member of this relationship. I want to get my money in control. He's preparing for our future, whatever that may be, and I want to take myself seriously and get serious about my money. So I worked really hard, saved for a long time, and paid off all my crazy credit card debt within about a year or so. And from that point on, I got so serious about never having an outstanding balance on my credit card again. So now I still spend the money, but even in my business, I put everything for my business on a credit card, everything that I can. One, because it's just easier to have everything funnel through the same thing. And two, I like the travel points, which I guess we're not really traveling that much now, that I get with my credit card rewards. So, okay, now I have quit my job. I have started working for myself. I got serious about saving money before I quit my job so that I could financially sustain myself and didn't need to rely on my boyfriend at that time. And yeah, I felt like I was getting all of my money troubles in control, and I just got busier and busier in my business, and I lost track of taking care of my books. I probably wasn't paying taxes like I should have. Wasn't doing like any of the things. I had a Google Excel sheet that I would keep track of money going in and money going out, and that was pretty much it. I knew that I didn't like to do it, so I had my best friend, who she's more of an Excel spreadsheet type of gal. She would do it for me, but I was just so unorganized that I would have my personal stuff and my business stuff on the same credit card, and she'd be like, hey, Catherine, what's this charge for? What's that charge for? Is this personal? Is this business? And it was a total clusterfuck, and I could tell that she didn't really like doing it, so it wasn't really serving either of us well. So at this point, I have 1 kid, 2 kids, I don't know. But we moved from Las Vegas to Arizona to California, and now we're in Seattle. And this sounds like a really long time, but we moved like every year. So it wasn't really that long of a span of time. My neighbor, who just love her to pieces, she worked with me as my office assistant for a couple hours a day. She would come in and do my books, and at this time I have things separated, but really I was only keeping track of profit and loss, and that's like, it's not enough in your business. You really, you need to get those tax laws in order. So when we moved back to Illinois, I wasn't with that neighbor anymore, and I lost track of my books again, and I wasn't keeping track of anything. And when I rolled into same as us. Oh, have you lived in California, Arizona, and Seattle? Oh, Seattle was like my favorite place ever. So gorgeous. Loved all the places. West Coast girl at heart. Okay, so we had 2 kids in Seattle. Then we moved back to Illinois because we said no more moving. And when 2019 hit, I was like, you know what? This not having track of my money, not knowing truly what's going on in my business is holding me back. I'm never going to reach the success that I'm working so hard for, that I want, that I know that I deserve, if I don't get this money thing under control, and if you know anything about Illinois, they have crazy tax laws. I mean, they have so many different things going on, and especially because I am a product-based business, the bigger I get, the more exposure I get. If I don't get all of this stuff in order, like, I am just opening myself up to a total shitstorm of being audited, of IRS issues. Like, I didn't want that hanging over my head anymore. So in 2019, I'm like, I am finally going to hire a bona fide accountant. Did that. I hired someone who I thought that I could trust, who I knew from social media, and I invested a lot of money in the beginning to get my books in order. I have multiple income streams, so I have Etsy, I have wholesale, I have my website, I have custom designs. So there's a lot of moving pieces to keep track of, and if you are a stationery designer, it likely looks the same way for you. And then this person kind of ghosted me. I feel like they didn't really know how to work with a product-based business. They didn't know how to keep my books in order, and it just totally fell by the wayside. And again, me, didn't have the courage to speak up because I wanted to run from it. I wanted to hide from it. It like freaked me out, and I just said, okay, well, this person doesn't want to help me, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I'll deal with it later. So fast forward to it's like, okay, so that was in January, February, and then this is 2019. Now it's November, and I am at the Rise Business Conference with Rachel Hollis, and I brought my husband this time because he also has his own business. Sometimes I have a hard time articulating what I want to do in my own business, or how I'm so inspired by other women and other entrepreneurs that I felt like if he just came to this conference with me, like, he would feel the energy in the room, he would get it, he would totally just get me a little bit more. And yes, that did happen, but that's not like the main moral of this story. So if you've ever been to a Rachel Hollis event, prior to the business one, she does a lot of like women conferences. So if you've ever been, please let me know. Give me a little. But one of the things that she does at her conferences is called Stand Up for Your Sister. You were there too at the business one? Okay, we need to connect after this because maybe I know you from the private Facebook group. So one of the things she does at the women's conference is a stand up for your sister. So they put down like all of these really awful things that could have happened in your life. Trauma. Are you struggle with alcoholism? Have you ever been raped? Have you, like, all these things that do you hate your body? All these things that you just like would never want to admit out loud, but they're the things, the trauma in your life that is holding you back, that really you need to give light to the situation and accept it and then move on. So in this practice, you check yes or no on all these like horrible things that, oh my gosh, you would never want to say out loud. They make you just want to vomit. And then you fold up your piece of paper and then you pass it like all around the room, and a total stranger gets it. They don't know, there's not like a name on it, and then you stand up for your sister. So have you ever been sexually abused? And if you have the paper of someone who has, like, you stand up. Do you suffer with alcoholism? Do you have drug addiction? You know, like all of those horrible things, you're standing up for a stranger, and in turn, like, you're kind of unbearing that load, but not taking responsibility for it. So in the business conference, because they want to encourage you to be a leader and to own up to all the shit, the good shit and the bad shit in your life. If you really want to progress forward, you didn't pass that paper around. You stood up for your own shit and you accepted it and you owned up to it in front of like 7,000 people. And okay, like a lot of this stuff, I'm just like, whatever, you know. And now we're talking more about like business related stuff, not so much personal trauma. And one of the questions on there was, Do you have no idea what your finances are within your business? And I had to stand up next to my husband, next to like all of these freaking people that I had no idea the finances in my business. And like that makes me so emotional because I felt so much shame, like so much shame that I'm trying to build like these big lofty dreams and I have no idea about the money aspect in my business. And it was freaking embarrassing. And I mean, so, oh my gosh, I'm like such a loser. Long story short, I made it a point after that to finally get so freaking serious about what I was doing with my money, about knowing what my money coming in was, what I was spending money on. Was I doing like proper tax laws? Was I paying the right things? Was I in compliance with freaking everything? And I decided to work with a different accounting company from someone else that I knew from a different mastermind. And friends, I just tell you so much that this has changed my life. It changed my business. The fact that I had to stand up in shame in front of 7,000 people, but more importantly, my husband, to say that like, I have no idea what the F I'm doing, how much money I'm spending, or where it's freaking going. Thank you for saying I'm not a loser, everyone. And I just don't like, you don't need to spend so much time, like all this time in your business doesn't need to lapse before you finally say, hey, I'm gonna put my big girl pants on and I'm gonna focus on my numbers. It doesn't need to be that scary. It doesn't need to be so overwhelming. And when I finally worked with a company that I trusted, who understood me, who I was able to say like, hey, I don't understand what any of these things mean. Can you please help me understand it? Because I want to know, because it's holding me back. Because if I don't treat my money with the respect that it deserves, then the universe is never going to allow more money to be granted into my life. And that sounds so hokey, but I believe it to be true. And I just want that for you. I want that for you ladies as well, because it's so important that we really respect the gifts that we have in our life. And money is just that. Like, you work so hard for it, and if you don't respect it, if you just don't get a grasp, you don't need to understand everything. I mean, now I work with a company that I trust, and they still they do all the tracking for me. I still do a lot of some of the individual invoicing because I need to know what's going on. I need to have a pulse on what the freak I'm doing. I don't want to have someone who just does it and then I just, I think it's taken care of. I don't know, hopefully, no, I need to know how much money is coming in. I did an interview for the Chicago Tribune a couple weeks ago, and I told them how during the pandemic, my sales for greeting cards have totally gone through the roof, and this has been the best freaking year of my business, and I don't take that for granted, that it's not been the same way for other people. And they wanted specific numbers. Well, how much of an increase? How much money were you making this year compared to this time last year? Oh my gosh, if it would have been last year and they would have asked me that question, I would have been no idea. But I emailed my accountant and she quickly pulled up some numbers that made me feel like a freaking professional. I am a professional, and so are you, and you need to treat your business as such. So Sarah says, do you still use QuickBooks or another program? So I use QuickBooks with inventory. Because I have Squarespace, it's not perfect. It's not like Shopify where everything harmoniously connects in the circle of inventory life. But you know what? It works for me. And until it doesn't work for me anymore, then I'll find a different system. And I just spent a lot of freaking money on a Squarespace site. When I'm ready to make an investment in a Shopify site, then I will. It's just it comes down to there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to be successful at whatever you do. You just need to find a way that works for you and get a grasp on it. So when I'm putting together this mastermind, the KMB Signature Collective, which, spoiler alert, that's exactly why I'm talking about this. So I hope you don't just tune out, but I hope you stay, because one of the things that I want my group to know within this mastermind is that you need to get serious about your numbers. The products, the beautiful catalogs, the creative aspect, like that's fantastic. But if you don't have respect for your money, if you don't have your inventory in line, if you don't have systems and procedures that work for your business, then you're never gonna succeed. Never. Never, never, never. You're never going to get to the point that you truly feel in your heart you're capable of because you're not ready. I wasn't ready for success about a year and a half ago because I didn't have my shit in order. And when I did start getting my shit truly in order, that is when the universe was like, you are ready. You are ready for the next best freaking thing. And that's why truly this year has been so fantastic for me, and the fact that I can share this with all of you, and the fact that you would give me the opportunity to coach you within this mastermind program and to learn from other women, I mean, that is the thing that truly calls on my heart and that I'm so passionate about, because I want to help you. I want to help you be better than me to get where you want to be quicker. So yes, word vomit. I hope whether you want to join the mastermind or not, that you found this so freaking helpful. Get your finances in order. Get your life in order. The mastermind will officially open in about a week, and then it will only be open for a couple more days. Spots are already filling up, and seriously, like, it blows my mind when someone signs the contract and gives me their money, because it's this exchange of trust. It's not just a course or a mastermind. It's like, you're ready for a freaking transformation because you want to invest in yourself and you trust me to help take you along on that journey. How do you get more info on it? So glad you asked. So you can go to the link in my Instagram profile. The link is kittymeow-boutique.com/KMB-sig/collective. Or if you're ever on the Kitty Meow site, you go to the education tab and it shows all the different ways that you can work with me and KMB Signature Collective. Fill out an application, because I don't want to just work with you if it's not a good fit. I want to work with people who are super serious, who want to give back just as much as they want to receive. So fill out an application, and from that point, I will schedule a call with you and we'll talk about your hopes, your dreams, your struggles, all of the things, because again, I want to get to know you and I want to see if we will be a good fit together, and then we will go from there. So yes, check out the podcast today. It's a freaking good episode. Renee totally makes fun of me in regards to being in love with Ed Milet, which, sorry, not sorry, I think he's kind of sexy and he's super muscular. Okay, so yes, and he is also one that I heard at the Rachel Hollis Rise Business Conference, and I don't know, I think he's great, so screw you, Renee. But I will post the replay of this later today on my IGTV. Please reach out with any questions. I promise you, I want to hear from you. I'm not just saying that. So have a great day. Go do your bookkeeping, get your inventory in order, get your life together, and if you need help, let me know. Bye, friends.